You know, one of the things that makes me so excited about our district is how far along we've come. In the last year that we had testing, our district had the highest achievement gains of any district in the state of Texas. And then what I love is that not only have our graduation rates have been rising, we have one of the lowest dropout rates now ever in our district's history. So whether it's getting certificates at the community colleges, getting associate degrees, we have the highest percentage now of our graduating seniors attending four-year universities. We've doubled our scholarships from $50 million to over $100 million just last year, and we're in a record pace this year already. Our community just passed the largest bond referendum in the city's history. And what that's going to do is it's going to put us on a path where every one of our classrooms will be modernized so that our children can flourish. When I look at already some of the projects that are being finished right now, especially with our high schools, I can't wait for our children to come and see them. You know, one of the things that I know that we're very proud of in this community is our schools. And we've tripled the number of our A and B schools, and we've expanded our dual language programs into 60 of our schools. We have fine art offerings and investments we've made so that 100% of our children have access to fine arts. Our children are able to get high school credit in middle school. They're able to get college credit while they're still in high school. You know, we want our children to be excited about school. So for example, we have now pathways for construction, for engineering, for aerospace, for cybersecurity, for healthcare. And so whatever that dream that your child has, we have more opportunities for them to be able to really reach their dreams. There's so much pride here in our district. We have so much history. I mean, we are the original district of the city of San Antonio. So what we're seeing is that our children are graduating. They're better prepared. One of the things we talk about is that when we support our students, there's no limit to their potential. There's no limit to how high they can achieve.
There we go. Buenos dias. Good morning, everyone. My name is Marina Gonzalez, and I have the pleasure of serving as President and CEO of our San Antonio Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. I'm excited to be with you this morning on behalf of the Chamber, along with our partners at the San Antonio Chamber of Commerce, to welcome you to the 2021 SAISD State of the District in-person hybrid event. Round of applause for that. Now, today you're going to hear SAISD Superintendent Pedro Martinez, as well as other wonderful SAISD leaders who work every day to support our students. We're proud to stand with you in support of the transformational work and efforts taking place right here in this school district, serving in the heart of San Antonio. Now, one of our 5 pillars at the Hispanic Chamber is education, the great equalizer. This is why our chamber remains committed year after year to this wonderful event. Now, each of us today has an opportunity to make a positive impact for students in the school district, and your attendance today and participation is commitment to their success. Now, when you give to the SAISD Foundation, you're choosing to invest in students and teachers and in the future of San Antonio. So thank you so much for your support. I also do want to take a moment to recognize 2 elected officials who are with us today. Ms. Marisa Perez from the State Board of Education. Marisa, thank you for being with us. And we also are honored to have our District 2 City Councilwoman, Ms. Jada Andrews Sullivan, with us today. Councilwoman. So I'd like to thank the SAISD Foundation and the school district, the San Antonio Chamber of Commerce, and our San Antonio business community for many years of continued support and partnership. And I appreciate the opportunity to be here today and welcome you. So at this time, it is my pleasure to welcome my friend and colleague, Mr. Richard Bettis, CEO of the San Antonio Chamber of Commerce. Richard.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you, Marina. Good morning, everyone. I know we haven't done one of these in a long time, but so we kind of forgot the protocol. Good morning, everyone. All right. Well, thank you all for the opportunity to be here, and thank you to the SAISD Foundation for continuing this fantastic opportunity to focus on the wealth of good things happening at the San Antonio Independent School District. I am very excited to be here today, and I'm so glad to see so many people face to face once more. And of course, I know there's a whole bunch of folks watching us virtually, so welcome to you all as well. As you all know, the past year has been a challenge for all of us. And I think it has driven home one extremely important fact that is not lost on the folks with us here this morning. The importance and critical role our public schools play in the everyday operation of our lives and our ability to work is now crystal clear as our families, school officials, teachers, and elected leaders from every corner of the world struggled with hardly any forewarning to pivot to some form of remote learning. Parents and families around the globe who had relied on schools as an anchor around which they organized their daily schedule faced the shock of life without school. School operations are therefore essential to a functioning and thriving business community throughout our planet. It is also plain to see the essential role that our schools play in our students' well-being, as we have seen our young people struggle while they've been away from campus. We depend on our schools for so much, and during a time when our schools needed us, I am proud of our community's leadership for coming together to help our children. In the midst of a crisis of historic proportions, San Antonio passed a record-setting bond to provide funding to our namesake school district. That is San Antonio having the foresight to invest in itself, ladies and gentlemen, and I think that's worth a round of applause. And now we are all eager to recover from this crisis and to see the exciting changes at our largest inner city school district. That $1.3 billion is no match, however, for the aspirations we all have for our children. New schools, enhanced programming, and a stronger commitment to graduating students that are college and career ready will see SAISD move to continued ambitious futures for all of us. Strong schools are critical to our community's recovery and continued vibrancy, and I am confident that we are on the right track. I am proud to introduce Superintendent Pedro Martinez, who, by the way, I met in this room, I guess about 5 or 6 years ago when he first arrived, and he was doing these community panels, and I met him in this same room. Of course, it looked a little bit different, right? It looks nice and new and beautiful and airy, but Pedro has grabbed that bull by the horns. He's had a board that has supported his vision and added their thoughts to making this one of the best school districts in the entire state of Texas. So ladies and gentlemen, join me in welcoming to the stage Dr. Pedro Martinez to tell us about his vision for SAISD.
Good morning, everyone. Come on, we can do better than that. Good morning, everyone. Act like you've been in a pandemic for 15 months. Good morning, everyone. So I am just excited to have an event. You know, it's different. It's smaller, right? It's different than what we've had in the Whitty or at the Pearl, but it's so much more intimate. And considering what we've been through as a community, I think it's that much more special. So first of all, I just want to acknowledge my amazing team, because I get to be the face of it, but I got to tell you, the team over there, I just wanted my team to stand up. Please stand up. This is the all-star team of all-stars. Please stand up. I want to acknowledge them. They are what's keeping everything, all the great things that I'm going to talk about. They are the people behind it. And then, of course, and Richard mentioned this, I'll tell you, there is no better board in the entire country than my school board. So I want to ask my school board members to stand up, please. They are amazing. They're passionate. They're from the community. They speak for the community. Thank you, trustees. So what I want to do today is give you a little bit of some of our past accomplishments, because even though, you know, I want to say that you'll know everything about us, but you may not. And so just a little bit of history. I want to remind everybody why we do this work. And so you're going to see some videos and really, you know, some of our alumni, including Maria Garcia, who I got to meet last year, who is, as we speak, is at MIT. Imagine being at MIT during a pandemic year. And really, but the reasons why we do this work and then really talk a little bit about how we've responded. And the one thing I'll tell you is that, one of the things you're going to see from this district is that we, on our watch, we will not allow our children to fail. We will not allow our children to lose hope, no matter what's happening in the community. That's what this board is about. That's what this staff is about. But let me show you some things. So to back it up, right? Because again, we can all say good things, but I think it's important to back it up with results and action. So, one of the things that was really exciting, this was in 2019, the last year we had testing, the commissioner actually came down for the first time. The commissioner of the state of Texas came down to announce statewide results for the entire state and went to the south side, Shank Elementary School. Why Shank? Because Shank had one of the biggest improvements in the state, went from a C to an A. There's only a few schools in the state that were able to do that. And so he said, the district is a B district. We knew that. We have a really great accountability team. They did projections. We're like, we're going to be a B district, by the way, that matches our suburban peers, North Side and Northeast, just saying. And so, so we matched. We knew that. What we didn't know was that our district had the highest achievement gains of any district in the state of Texas. And in fact, the quote, and this was in the newspaper, he said, this is the district to watch, because this district is showing that poverty will not determine the destiny of our children. And that was a direct quote from the commissioner, ladies and gentlemen. Why is that? Because look at our trajectory. So when I've been here now, and Richard, you're right, it's now 6 years that I remember being in this room doing an interview actually with the community, and Richard was part of it. And I remember, when I came, the state was just changing its accountability system. And it was messy, folks. New assessments, more rigorous assessments, higher standards, all good things for parents. But I'll tell you, for our staff, big shift. And so we went to the state and said, tell us what our grade would be, because they were starting to give grades for districts and for schools. And you can see what our grade would have been in 2016. Of course, that created a sense of urgency. So I said, I knew this job was going to be tough. I didn't realize it was going to be that tough, but okay. So it created a sense of urgency for my team. Look at our trajectory now, where we ended in 2019. And in fact, one of the things that really concerned us was back in 2016, one of the things the state shared with us is that we had 35,000 of our 50,000 students in failing school seats. In other words, in failing schools. And that was a shock for us. And by the way, we saw it because as I talked to parents and grandparents and community members, they said, superintendent, yes, I graduated from your district, but I wasn't really that prepared. And yes, I was sent into the trades. I wasn't really encouraged to go to college. And just always these feelings of underprepared. Even our most successful students, I would talk to them and I could feel, sometimes just their struggles and confidence. And so it made sense to me when I saw the data. And you can see now what we have now in 2019. By the way, if we would have tested in 2020, and our projections are very conservative, that number you see there would have been down by another 70%. My teachers, and I want to say this very loud because you hear a lot of political talk about testing and this. My teachers were frustrated and were upset that they couldn't show us. They're like, superintendent, we wanted to show you because our schools were in such a strong trajectory. So that would have been down another 70%. It would have been the lowest number of low performing seats in schools ever in our district's history. And more children are graduating. As I said in our video, our dropout rate has never been lower. For the first time in our district's history, we're below 10%. But more important than that, they're better prepared than ever before. What you're seeing here is how we've closed the gap with the state on college readiness. So that means that when our children are finishing high school, they're not starting in remedial classes. And in fact, we're not, and of course, folks, we're not stopping there. So we've closed the gap with the state. But what I'm going to show you is that that's not good enough for us. We want our children to be in college while they're still in high school. That is what's happening in our district. And we are accelerating that. Why? Because I want our children to reach their dreams, whatever that dream is. And the way I like you to think about it, it's a highway. By the way, I love our San Antonio highways because, God, they're so efficient, right? They're a little tricky, right, with all the ups and downs, right? And the turnarounds, but they are so efficient, right? And so imagine this full highway that as a child, you can see it all. You can see the highway. And so if you want to get off and, and as long as you have a certificate and you want to start working, you can do that. And you get back, if you want to then get back on and get your associates, you can do that. If you want to get back off again and start working again, you can do that. If you want to get back on for your bachelor's, you can do that. But the highway is clear and you can get off and on. That is what we're building in our district. Because at the end of the day, everybody, as parents, what do we want? We want our children to reach their dreams. We want them to be productive members in our community. We want them to be able to support their children, to have a living wage job. That is what we want in our community. That is the system that we're building. And let me give you another data point. Look at the number of students, high school students that are now enrolled in dual credit classes. By the way, we excluded our early college programs, which I'm going to show you how we're expanding that aggressively. Those are students that are getting associate's degrees, folks. Associate's degrees. They go to their graduation for college before they go to our high school graduation. We're excluding those numbers because that number would be so big, but look how fast that is growing. And so, for example, we got an amazing gift from the Griehe Foundation to really accelerate this. And these are students, frankly, that may not have the confidence, to think, well, maybe college is not for me. We said, well, give it a try. Give it a try. By the way, I get this question a lot, around the trades. The trades right now, it's really a partnership between high schools, the trade associations, and the community colleges. And I'll give you a couple of data points on that. So this is our student, Jennifer Fuentes. This is a student that benefited significantly from having college credit while in high school. And let's just see her video.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jennifer Fuentes, and I am a current student here at Texas Tech University. I did graduate with Lanier's class of 2018, so naturally I would have graduated here with the class of 2022. However, I did take dual enrollment courses in high school, so I should be done by this May, which is pretty interesting. I am hoping on going into law school afterwards. I took my LSAT this past month, so I am really just waiting on the results to see how that goes. But I am hoping to pursue oil and gas law, so I'm really excited about that. But I really just wanted to kind of stop and take a moment to thank you guys for the countless support that you have given, not only myself, but many other students within the SAISD district. Coming from a family with 10 siblings, these contributions really just mean the world, because I am able to not only make a future for myself, but kind of show my younger siblings that this is possible, no matter, your background, your school, wherever you're coming from, you can do this, which that just means so much to me. So really, from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys, and have a wonderful day.
Isn't that amazing? So I feel Jennifer's pain. I'm the oldest of 12, 10 of us still alive. She has 10 siblings, but think about the shift in the trajectory of her family and what she's going to be able to do, not only for herself, but for her family overall. One of the things that's so amazing about our district is that we are setting up partnerships across the state so that when children, remember the highway that I was describing? This is part of the highway. So the agreements we're setting up with colleges is that if our children get in, we want their need 100%, their financial need 100% met. And so what I'm showing you right now, these are the partnerships that we have developed. So of course, the Alamo College, the Alamo Promise, all of our high schools are part of that. That was a big priority for Michael and myself. But Austin College, we now have, and this is by the way, this is a floor at a minimum 15 students that will get their full need met. Look at University of Houston at Victoria, Prairie View. By the way, and this was my little complaint with Danny when I first started. I said, I'm getting students into East Coast liberal colleges, top colleges in the country, and they're choosing there because they get no financial need or very little from Trinity. Well, Danny, a man of his word, changed that. So this year alone, we're getting 15 full ride scholarships for us. This is the most students we'll ever have. And I'll tell you, our students are struggling because they're getting into, amazing top universities around the country. And they're like, but I also got accepted into Trinity and I get to live on campus at Trinity. And so talk about an amazing choice for our students, right? So this will be the largest group that we ever have going to Trinity, if they all choose to go to Trinity, because again, they're accepted into multiple colleges, but we have 15, Texas State, 50, UTSA over 300. So this is another student, Miguel, who, Miguel was very special for me. So I got to share this quick story with you. So Miguel was at Sam Houston. senior. He was the head of the decathlon. So I went to go see him. And the Sam Houston, by the way, the decathlon team has been beating out the region for years. So Alamo Heights, Bernie, sorry, beating you out, and not even close, folks. So in Miguel's class, imagine, remember Michael Phelps when he had all those medals? That was Miguel. He had all these medals. And so and he was the leader of the decathlon. I said, Miguel, where are you gonna go to college? And he's like, and he kind of put his head down. I said, no. So you don't realize who I am, but I know, I can find you. So I followed up with his counselor. I said, what's going on with Miguel? He said, Miguel's having he has a really difficult home life, lives in poverty, can't see college in his future. I said, get him on a college trip, because we had over 500 students going on college trips within the state. He went to Austin College, and the counselor said, call me back. He said, I don't know what you did, but he went to Austin College, and now that's the only place he wants to go. So folks, he is now at Austin College. And so we got him a full ride. It's been difficult for him, but this is a student who, if you knew his personal story, all the odds are against him. Even I said to myself, my goodness, God, definitely has a plan for all of us, because the amount of challenges that some of our children have, it is amazing how they can overcome them. So this is Miguel.
Hi, my name is Miguel Esparza. I am a student at Austin College and a graduate of Sam Houston High School's class of 2018. My program consists of a double major in political science and history. Like many freshmen, I struggled socially. Luckily, the companionship of fellow SAISD alumni helped ease the transition into this new learning experience. My second year at Austin College, I struggled financially, working almost 40-hour weeks, and even with the additional work study, I struggled to pay for my tuition. With nowhere else to turn, I reached out to a former teacher, Veronica Marina. She in turn reached out to Pedro Martinez, the superintendent of SAISD, and shortly after, he contacted me in an effort to check on my well-being. Through the relationship between Austin College and SAISD, my financial aid package was reviewed, and I was put in a better position to focus on my studies. This summer, I will be interning with SEPA, a program that aims to foster the relationship between Austin College and local nonprofits. After Austin College, I plan to pursue a career as an immigration attorney. I just wanted to take this moment to thank SAISD for not only creating these opportunities, but for nurturing first-generation students along their journeys.
Again, we are changing their lives, everybody. And this is what's happening. So we're still early, by the way. We're barely in April. May is really the big month when we see a lot more college acceptances, but we're already on a record of having 61% of our children accepted into college, more than 40% in university. And this is early. Like I said, May is the big month. What's really exciting is that we hit $100 million in scholarships in 2020. That's almost double what it was the year before, 5 years ago. We're on step to actually exceed that amount this year. And this is the chart that shows you. So again, just 5 years ago, we were at 51 million. We hit 99, literally almost 100 million in 2020 in a pandemic, by the way. And now this year, we're already on path to exceed that. And in fact, here's another student, Maria Teresa. So Maria Teresa, I just got to brag a little bit on her. So my first MIT student. So she's been wanting to be an engineer since she was in middle school. Only girl, by the way, oldest girl. And that is tough, right? She has younger brothers. They go to school on the west side, and single mom. And I'll tell you, the mom was really hesitant, and even to this day, by the way, we're still talking to her because she's just like, I don't feel comfortable with Maria being in Boston. And we said she's gonna be fine. We got her a full ride Quest Scholar. It was our only Quest Scholar last year. I'll give you an update for this year, but only Quest Scholar for last year. But let's hear from Maria.
Hello, my name is Maria, and I am a Young Women's Leadership Academy graduate of the class of 2020, currently attending MIT. This past semester, I have been on campus taking different classes to prepare me for my declared major, which is electrical engineering and computer science. And I have also been exploring the Boston area with my friends, which is pretty exciting and pretty fun. I really like MIT because it reminds me a lot of YWLA and the people back home. It has become a second home to me, and I think YWLA and everything our school and district does prepared me a lot to be here. The clubs I participated in, like dance and athletics, especially basketball, really helped me develop my confidence, my teamwork skills, communication skills, and discipline that I use every day here. Other extracurriculars like robotics, science, National Honor Society, even National Honor Society helped me find my passion in STEM, education, and service, which is something I plan to pursue for however long I can after MIT and even throughout MIT.
So that's Maria. She's finishing her first year at MIT. And folks, MIT, I mean, talk about a rigorous school. So of course, we check up on her quite a bit. You know, I'll tell you, one of the things she told us, she misses the San Antonio food. So, you know, it's so interesting, right? You grew up in San Antonio, it's different on the East Coast. And so we're sending her a care package as we speak to, you know, try to get her favorite foods. But this is an update for this year. So Maria was our only Quest Scholar last year. This year, folks, we have 6 Quest Scholars. This is a record for us. So, and we're talking about colleges like Brown, Amherst, Caltech. I'll have my first Caltech student going this fall. And we also have a record number of Dell Scholars. So Dell Scholars, just so everybody understands, they receive $20,000 in scholarships. It is a big scholarship. We had 6 in the 18-19 school year, 15 last year. Look, we're at 20 right now as we speak. You know, Isaiah, and this is something I would encourage all of you, if you Google Isaiah, there's an Express News story. And the reason it was such a big deal is because he was homeless when he graduated from our district, and he got into Columbia, and he talked about the challenges of just, you know, trying to navigate the Columbia system. Things like not having books and feeling embarrassed to tell the professor that even though he had a full ride, by the way, this is one of the things, you know, our foundation is so amazing about, is we always remind our communities that even when we get our student scholarships and full rides, it doesn't mean that they cover everything like books. It doesn't mean like they cover everything like transportation to come back and forth. The things that as parents we would pay for, that isn't covered by scholarships. And so Isaiah's struggle his first year with getting some of those things. And really, you know, and it's, like I said, it's an amazing story, but this is now Isaiah, by the way, he's about to graduate from Columbia. So let's just hear from Isaiah.
Hi, everyone. My name is Isaiah Guzman. I'm a member of the class of 2017 from Travis Early College High School, where I received my Questbridge Scholarship to go to Columbia University, where I will soon be a graduating member of the class of 2021. I'm sorry, that just feels really, really good to say after all these years, especially having to transition into Zoom learning through half of it, which wasn't easy, but certainly a lot easier than the first shift going from San Antonio to New York in the Columbia environment. It wasn't easy, but one thing I have to thank for is my San Antonio community, all the friends and familiar faces that we have here, and it just really helped provide a good foundation that whenever I come back, reflect my experiences and know that I had a good foundation here, have a lot of people who want to support me, and it's ultimately that I was prepared for this. It's a really difficult space to move into, but knowing that although it's not easy, especially wasn't for me, it is possible, and it will be for many of the students as well. So thank you.
So again, I encourage you, Google that story. It was an amazing story about him and his path. But again, for me, the stories that we're sharing with you, again, these are the reasons why we do this work. And what I want to share with you is that when we do this work, and I show you a lot of stats and outcomes, behind every one of those statistics is an Isaiah, is a Maria. These are the students that we're trying to transform their lives, because we know that if we affect them, we affect their entire family. We affect an entire community. So one of the things that I'm so proud of, remember what I shared with you, is that it's not enough that our children graduate. It is not enough that they're college ready. For us, those should be minimums. Those should be minimum standards. And as a parent, I would tell you that should be your minimum standard. What we're doing now, everybody, every single high school now is putting children in college credit, either through advanced placement, international baccalaureate programs. You're going to see a video around our PTech programs, which are basically students getting an associate's degree with a specific industry certification. And you'll see that in a second. And speaking about certifications, so back in 2017, only 17 of our students were getting certification. So the way I want you to think about, because I get this question so much. Okay, so Mr. Martinez, what about the vocational programs? When I was, when I went to, the high schools, they had all these voc ed programs. Let me tell you how it works today. So it's a relay race. We get them a certificate. That certificate, then they can either go to a trade or go to the community college and they finish it up with another certificate. Then they can start to work. That's how you become a plumber. That's how you become an electrician. That's how you get into welding. So because the technology that exists now, ladies and gentlemen, is very different than what existed in the 60s and 70s and the 80s. I mean, we know this, right? But it is very different. And so it is very different to become a mechanic. I used to fix my own cars. I would not even want to touch my engine right now with all the technology that's there, right? And so things are just very different. And so our certificates are key to start that relay race. Look at what has happened. By the way, in 2021, we're on path to exceed that number. So those are children. And again, remember, it's about their dreams. So by the way, more programs in cybersecurity, in technology, in healthcare. Why? Because those are the growing industries in San Antonio. But we still have construction. We still have the trades. We have culinary programs. Culinary program, if you want to be a culinary chef, because you know San Antonio is a great food city, when you go to our programs, you're enrolled in the Culinary Institute of America, one of the top culinary colleges in the world, and you get 30 college credits coming out of the high school. Remember, it's the relay race. So now you're going to see a video of all of our PTech programs, and these are, again, children that are getting associate degrees, folks, associate degrees, even before they finish high school.
PTech program is a school within school model. That means that a K through 12, Institute of Higher Education, industry and business partners, we allow students to earn a high school diploma as well as a post-secondary credential.
There are several outcomes that we seek when we have students in a PTech program. We want them to connect with industry all the way starting from 9th grade all the way through 12th grade, and actually connect with industry partners so they get an understanding of what industry they're focusing their work in, and they are actually connected to people in the industry. So when they do graduate, they have the opportunity to create that network, those opportunities to get that work-based learning experience, to actually get a job once they graduate or continue their education.
The ideal classroom at Edison PTech School of Business is one where students are engaged, highly engaged in order to succeed, where you'll see a lot of project-based learning. You'll see students interacting with one another, creating ideas, learning from one another.
At the Construction Science PTech at City Limit High School, we actually have an emphasis within two main strands, our construction technologies, construction science and management. You learn more about the sciences behind the construction industry. So you actually get to learn how to become a foreman and be the boss of the work site. In the power generation and alternative energy pathway, our students will be learning different skills necessary to work on solar panels or wind turbines.
When you enter the hallways at Fox Tech High School, the first thing that you notice is that it's different than any other high school because it looks like a hospital. We teach students from day one how to conduct themselves as medical professionals.
A student should enroll in Cyber PTech at Sam Houston High School if they're interested in information technology, computers, coding, and mostly if they're wanting to be able to join the workforce immediately in a high-wage, high-demand job.
In the PTech program, students will spend some time here at Highlands campus and some time at St. Philip's College, getting to actually build and fix airplanes, working with electronics on our manufacturing equipment, and working with robotics and animation. It's a really hands-on program.
PTech students are prepared to graduate from high school with a post-secondary credential. It allows career and technical pathways to occur while they are in high school, preparing them for high-wage, high-demand jobs.
So, you know, we're gonna have sessions, virtual sessions at 2 o'clock. Johnny Bahalik, by the way, who is a state and national expert. Whenever I do any national events with Johnny, he has the most attendees nationally that want to learn from him. So he's gonna do a session at 2, but it's all about these PTech programs and how our industry partners work and how you can get involved. And, you know, one of the things that this board has been very clear about is that we are going to double down on the arts. Because I'll tell you, when we go to our schools and our children, whether they're participating in visual arts or music, you could see their pride. And I'll tell you, the investments we have made, we're seeing the payoff. And so you're going to hear Dr. Lautenbach, our amazing leader, which, by the way, since he came on board of the district, we have gone state awards, national awards for 3 years in a row. So this is the district now in the fine arts.
Parents and community members can rest assured that fine arts facilities and programs are a priority in the 2020 bond and the 2016 bond. All of our elementary students have access to a visual arts class, and all but 2 of our campuses have access to an elementary music program. At the secondary level, all of our academies and middle schools have access to at least 2 fine arts programs at each campus, and that can be theater, dance, visual art, and any of our music programs, which include mariachi, orchestra, choir, and band. And at the high school level, all of our neighborhood schools have access to at least 6 fine arts programs. Thanks to all of the attention and improvements that the district has invested in our fine arts programs, we've seen an immediate increase in student achievement. So there's a tremendous benefit to participation in the arts, and our community and district leadership understands that.
And he is right. Dr. Dallenbeck is right. We have seen student achievement completely correlated with the arts, everybody, and we're doubling down on the arts. The other thing I want to share with you is dual language programs. So when I started at the school district, we had 2 dual language programs. Even though our population, when you looked at our English language learners, when you looked at children that were actively English language learners and children that were just exiting, it was about 30% of our children. And what we saw was those children were struggling academically. They were graduating, but not being prepared. So I was able to steal one of the national experts in Austin, Dr. Olivia Hernandez. By the way, Austin has the largest dual language program in the country. And that was Dr. Hernandez that created that. So I said, Dr. Hernandez, come over to San Antonio and tell me what's the best solution for English language learners. She said, obviously, it's dual language. So I said, okay, well, come on over. Start slow. This is San Antonio. There's a lot of history in South Texas about how, children were not encouraged to speak their language. So let's start kind of slow. So the first year was 10 schools. I said, ooh, that's a little fast, but okay, because she was engaging parents, engaging teachers. Then it was 20 schools, and then it was 30 schools. Ladies and gentlemen, we will have dual language programs in 61 schools this fall. And we're seeing more of our English speakers now participating in dual language programs, and our dual language students are starting to outperform the district in the younger grades, and those programs are expanding. So, as you know, this year has been difficult. And our district has been one of the few districts in the country who has had COVID testing in every single school. We've done over 175,000 COVID tests, everybody, in our schools. Our positivity rate has always been under 1% on average. Right now, we're at 0.1%. We show our cases by school for each of the last 4 weeks. More families are now starting to come in. What's exciting, though, is that now we have vaccinations. Every one of our staff that wanted to get vaccinated is fully vaccinated. We started vaccinating high school students. By the way, we're doing a full call out for any students 16-year-olds or older, and we're even helping their parents get vaccinated. And so we've already started aggressively last week. We're doing another group this week. We're doing another group the week after. By the way, after that, every day we'll be actually transporting children to University Health until we're done. And one of the things I'm talking to medical experts, the expectation is that a vaccine could be approved for children as young as 12 within the next 2 to 4 weeks. So we are not stopping. We are going to make sure that our community is safe. Again, always with the parents' permission, always, if children want to do it and parents want to do it. But folks, this is who we are. We're not going to just stop, just wait and see what happens. We're not that type of district. And so just know that's who we are. And again, we're going to be on a record number of vaccinations for our students. You watch. And this is just a video that I wanted you to see just on the response during COVID from our transportation and our food service department.
Within the last 6-8 months, our district is truly a one-to-one district, both with Chromebooks and iPads. Now every student have their own dedicated device for learning. Another term that you hear in San Antonio is flagship classrooms. What those are model classrooms. They will be equipped with all the technology tools from the infrastructure, the laptop carts, the smart boards, all of the tools necessary for our future vision. Part of the technology strategy was learning everywhere. When they get on the bus in the morning, we wanted connectivity. When they get to school, we wanted connectivity anywhere on their campus. And the last piece of that puzzle was connectivity at home. So as a result of a partnership with the city of San Antonio, at the cost of $27 million, we have now started deploying internet access to our students' homes.
So we've got the coolest buses. All of them have Wi-Fi, so students can access tons of electronic books through the Bibliotech website that they can get on one of our buses. Our buses have GPS. They have a student badge program. All of our buses have both interior and exterior cameras. All of our route buses have AC. And then our new school buses have automatic anti-brake control and anti-skid control. Right now, about 40% of our school buses are propane. It emits fewer toxins. So our students who have asthma or breathing problems, it totally eliminates those for our students. So when the pandemic started, there was a concern about making sure that our students and our parents got food during this trying time. And so I know we called our drivers and all of them wanted to come in and help. We almost had about 100 school buses delivering meals. Each bus would deliver about 250 meals a day. And then we also delivered books as well, which was neat, and technology items as well too.
So again, in our district, everybody, it's a community effort and we want to support the community. And what you're going to see now, oops, I went a little bit too fast. So, you know, there's a lot of talk nationwide about a living wage. And so you hear a lot about, we want to get to a $15 living wage because the federal hourly rate hasn't changed. Well, in our district, I remember when I first started, actually going back to 2015, we're at $9 an hour. And one of the things that the board asked, he said, could we get to a decent living wage? And so folks, you can see our trajectory. We actually did, we hit $15 at the beginning of the 1920 school year. Our plan for next year to go to $16. And we want to send a message that you got to walk the talk. If you want to fight poverty and you want to fight the challenges of poverty, we have to make sure that our own staff have also a fighting chance to have a living wage salary. And that's our commitment. The other thing, this is brand new. This is so we had just been told in the last 30 days or so that we are the only independent school district in the region that has now been accepted as part of the new state teacher compensation system. It's very complicated. There's a slide here that has a lot of details. So two things I'm going to encourage you. One is we're going to have a session at 2 o'clock with Mohammed Chowdhury, who's leading this effort for me. He's leading the talent office. He can get all the details of this. It's really exciting. I'm going to give you just some highlights. And of course, even for our technology, Dr. Thompson's going to have a session, and Mr. Burrows, who has facilities, food, he's going to have a session at 2 o'clock as well. So I want to encourage you to, if you want to interested in these details, but basically what we're going to be able to do. So we started a master teacher initiative. These are master teachers that are expert teachers in their area. Back in 2016 with a federal grant, a $46 million federal grant, we got the state to create a similar program in the 2019 legislative session as part of House Bill 3. By the way, the state put $1 billion with a B towards this initiative. And we partnered with Dallas and got the state to put it in the system. So of course, we're two of the first 10 districts to be part of the system, Dallas and San Antonio ISD. So I'll explain what it means. So basically, it recognizes our teachers and any teacher who's nationally board certified, which is a gold standard for teacher, for example, immediately is part of the system. But otherwise, it's just based on performance. And by the way, the other thing is that the state adopted our poverty system. You remember we created our own poverty system here in San Antonio to identify poverty because we have 90% of our children live in poverty, but the poverty really varies by density. So we look at median income, whether a family is a two-family household, a two-parent household, because half of my families are single-parent households. We look at whether they own their own home, the educational level of the parents. Because by the way, in our schools that are very diverse by design now, I have students of college professors with parents of college professors or parents that are lawyers, along with children that could be foster care children, could be homeless in the same classroom. And so our system identifies that. So our state adopted that. And so basically, the way it would work, and this, I'm going to give you this. So this is the current right now. This is what teachers are paid today right now. So if you look at this, you can see an average Houston ISD with an average 10.8 years of experience. You can see what a teacher makes. You could see what a San Antonio ISD teacher makes. You could see North Side, Northeast. Some differences, but not very big. But what does this really tell teachers? If you really want to make more income, you really got to leave your classroom. You really got to be an assistant principal. You really got to be a principal. You got to come to central office. And we said, you know what? We need our teachers in our classrooms. So what if we change the whole system? And again, it's based on their results and their track record. And by the way, I have 30-year veterans who have had results for 30 years. And they're like, superintendent, I'm too old for this. I say, well, how old are your parents? Well, they're in their 90s. You got another 30 years to give me. So what are you talking about, right? So again, this is changing the whole profession. So look at what we're going to be able to do, folks. So this is what our current system looks like. Look what it's going to be. So we had almost 200 teachers be approved in the first round, and it's the first round. So the way I want you to look at it is, the A through D is the level of poverty. So the A is the lower poverty, the D is the higher poverty. So we have, for example, 20 teachers that next year will make between $70,000 and $84,000. We have, at our highest poverty schools at the master's level, we have teachers that will make at the lowest almost $92,000 a year up to $109,000 a year. Now compare that to this. So what we are sending a message, and this is to the nation. And by the way, we've supplemented the funding that we get from the state because we're asking our teachers to work an extra 20 days a year and to work extra hours a week. Why? Because our children need it. And so this is a big lift for our teachers, but in essence, we are completely transforming teacher compensation. By the way, we're the only one in the country that's asking for additional time, but that's why we're actually supplementing the funding. But a teacher for the first time in this region will be making over $100,000 based on performance. Now, God bless them, they're doing God's work. And this is the first round, folks. So our goal is that we want to get over a third of our teachers out of 3,000 to be part of this system over the next 5 years. And that's going to be our plan. So in the first round, it's very rigorous, so it's really hard to get in. But trust me, once you get in, and so we've talked to these 200 teachers, they're excited, they're a little bit overwhelmed, but I'll tell you, they're our first cohort. And then just wrapping up, as we know right now, we are going to need to make investments in education like never before. San Antonio has already spoken. You passed the largest bond in the city's history, $1.3 billion. You have already spoken. At the federal level, 3 federal packages have been passed. None of those funds have been passed down to school districts, even though they were meant for school districts. And so the only thing we urge is to continue to just, advocate with we're advocating with our legislators, with the governor's office, because I'll tell you that money is specifically for education. And, the plans we have, by the way, is to have the strongest recovery plan ever in the nation for our children, because that's what they need. So let me finish here. But again, everybody, just to summarize, this work, and I've been at this for 6 years, I'll tell you, when I look at the people in this room, when I look at the organizations that have been part of this, whether it's our nonprofits, whether it's the city, the county, the state, our partners, and it's coming up right now, you can see, and these are actually, if you can run those slides, look at the number of partners we have in our community that are part of this effort. And that's what I want you to really take away from today, is that this is a journey, but it is not a journey where we're by ourselves. It is a collective effort of the entire community saying, enough. Our children deserve more. We know they have the potential. We know they have the ability. If we give them the supports, if we give them the resources, they will always exceed our expectations. That is what's happening here in San Antonio. That is what's happening with your support. And I just want to thank you. And I know my board wants to thank you for all of your support. Thank you, everyone. And now we're be happy to take Q&A. I think there's some note cards being passed around. If anybody has a question. I'm not throwing a lot at you, so. And actually, while we're getting questions, I want to show you one more video. And this is really from our amazing deputy superintendent, who's also going to have a session at 2 o'clock, by the way, that's talking about some of our supports and future plans for our students. We can play that video, please.
For the past several years, we have been incorporating strategies for both students and staff members to support their social and emotional health. Some of those strategies are basic things that we do to create a positive environment in which to work for both students and teachers. Parents have been expressing concerns about learning loss. The number one strategy is that we believe in the capabilities of our children and our families and the resiliency of our children. When we provide them the appropriate environments, our children will catch up. Our mantra in academics and school leadership is end strong, start strong. So we have many programs in place for the end of the school year to start engaging students and preparing them for next year. And then in July, we have intercession that we call Jumpstart, reading camps, STEM camps, book clubs, to get students excited and enthusiastic about learning. And it's through those engaging activities that they will prepare them for the start of school. One of the things I'm most proud of is how SAISD staff, students, parents, and community have rallied during COVID so that we can get through this pandemic stronger than when we started.
So remember, Ms. Salzman will also have a session. By the way, all the sessions are virtual. So again, you can do it from your workplace, you can do it from wherever you're at, and you'll be able to do 2 sessions because we have multiple speakers. They're about 20, 30 minutes each. So it's from 2 to 3, and they're virtual. So please take advantage of that because again, you can go even deeper in some of the things we're doing with Ms. Salzman, with Dr. Thompson, like I said, my amazing team. I have a question here from our councilwoman, and the question is, do we know what the expected allocation would be from the federal ESSER funds? So first of all, the state has received for education $18 billion with a B, a total of $18 billion. At this point, we're hopeful to get at least the last package, which was about $12 billion. For San Antonio ISD alone, that's almost $200 million. By the way, Northside, Northeast, Edgewood, everybody will receive a significant allocation. And really what our plan is, everybody, is that we will have a 3-year recovery plan. So our goal is to have programming. We have added 30 instructional days to our calendar. And one of the things that concerns me is that nationwide, there's a record number of preschoolers and kindergartners that sat out the entire school year, had no academics because the parents didn't feel comfortable sending them to school. They didn't want to put them in front of a computer nationwide. There'll be research reports and papers written for years on the effects of this pandemic. Again, we're not a district that's just going to wait for that. We want to start immediately with supporting these children. But as Ms. Salzman said in the video, we're going to have STEM camps. We're going to have fine arts. We're going to have, we want the children to be excited about school because at the end of the day, we know if we can excite them, we can close those gaps. By the way, if there's a microphone, if anybody has the courage, you can stand up and actually ask a question at the microphone. So please, I encourage any more questions. Well, like I said, I know I've thrown a lot at you, so hopefully you've seen this information. So again, everybody, we're going to have, my staff are going to be around if you want to answer questions. Of course, our board will be around. But again, let me just end with this. This effort is not the school district by itself. This effort is not the superintendent by himself. It is not even our board by themselves. It is a collective effort that takes everyone. Poverty was not created in the last 10 years. Our community has struggled with poverty for decades. And what I am seeing, and I am just blessed to be the one that's with you right now during this time, is this community said, enough, basta. Enough. We're not going to allow poverty to define the future of our children because you can see Isaiah, you can see Maria, you can see Miguel, you can see what can happen when we support these children. And I'll tell you about these children. Miguel, actually Isaiah, he's about to go get his master's degree. He didn't say that. And he wants to get a PhD. Think about that for a second. Somebody who was homeless in our community. That is his trajectory. That is what collectively we are doing. So I want, with COVID and everything that's happening, I want for that to sink in for you. That's what this work is about. And with you, we will transform this community. Thank you, everyone.
For spending your morning with us, both virtually and here in person. We appreciate you being here. Just shows that you are friends of SAISD, friends of the SAISD Foundation, and you believe in our kids, you believe in our staff, you believe in this work. So thank you for being here. Thank you again to our sponsors for today's event. I also want to thank, today we have some student groups with us that you're going to see on your way out after you've had the opportunity to visit again personally here. We'll have a lot of our leadership staff across these tables behind the plexiglass. For those of you that are here in person, for those of you this afternoon or who want to dive in more, everyone here today will also be sent or has been already, will resend to you the 2 p.m. link to spend more time with them in depth, but they'll be here today for you. We have our Lanier Culinary students. Round of applause for them out there. They're going to be providing for you guys your breakfast to go. So that's the clap ahead of time before you've had their wonderful treat. So thank you guys for being here this morning. We also have our Fox Tech Mariachi who are going to be here to entertain you and close out your morning and show you where the food is. You all investing in us and investing through the district and partnering allows us to support the work you saw of our leaders, allows us to add to the programs in STEM and culinary and workforce development. So thank you for that. We were just out at Rhodes a couple weeks ago, and it was so exciting to talk to a student in the mariachi program who came back to school for the first time after spring break. And she talked about what that was like to come back and play in person with her 90 mariachi mates, I don't know what, the team, the group, rather than being in person from home, and just how thrilling that is for them. So I know our folks here today are as excited to play for you as you are to hear them. Excuse me. So we also want to remind you, there are cards at your table. Looks like this, provided by Raise Your Hand Texas. We want to make it easy for you to just grab your pen on the table and write a note to your state leadership to let them know that you want them to release those funds to the school districts for which they were intended. So please take a moment to do that. Our friends at Raise Your Hand Texas and our office here in Government Affairs will make sure that it gets to the Capitol on your behalf. If you're remote, please feel free to send an email to those representatives that you connect with so that they can hear your voice about that. We appreciate doing it together. That will be successful and give the funds that we need to do all the things that Ms. Salzman was just talking about and the superintendent. So thank you guys so much. Lastly, I just want to let you know as a reminder, we as the SAISD Foundation are here to help connect you to this powerful work. We intend to be your one-stop shop. So if you are not yet connected and want to get involved, please send us a note. Jump on our website, saisdfoundation.com. There's an opportunity there to volunteer, give your human talent and resources as well as your financial resources. So those partnerships are critical. The examples you set, the way you can be industry mentors or a remote mentor for a first-generation college student. We're there to connect you or to connect you with so many of our partners here in the room that do this powerful work every day. Thank you again. And lastly, I want to just really thank our district staff. For those of you that didn't hear, they have done a series of town halls, state of the district events across our high schools leading up to this culmination event, which means they have been out and about and doing preparation every day. So I just want to thank our district leadership, our comms team. Not trying to say they're excited this is over, but they're excited this is over. I also really want to thank SAISD Foundation team and staff, Angelica and our group and a lot of our board members who are here today. And again, all the partners, SA Chamber, Hispanic Chamber, and so many of our funders and supporters. Please know that the materials on your table are there for you to take, the mugs, the pens, the reports. We hope that those are glances into this work on paper that you can keep or share with others. So enjoy more coffee, aguas frescas, breakfast treats, visit with our leadership, and thank you again for coming.